Good afternoon. Welcome back to Career Accelerator Hacks Live. Anyone who joined last week and didn't come onto my feed, my sincere apologies. I had the worst tech problems ever. But today I'm so pleased that it's all working because I've got the amazing Karen Haywood with me. Thank you so much for joining me, Karen.
Hi. No, thank you for having me. Finally, we get together. We had technical issues last time, I think.
We had technical and COVID issues, I think.
We did have COVID
Yeah,
issues.
COVID issues.
I've only just started to feel normal and not having a coughing fit. So today is a good day. We're not coughing.
Bless you. Oh, bless you. Well, Karen, I'm going to ask you to talk about your career history in a minute, but I also just wanted to open up to say, look, if anyone's got any questions that they want to ask us or anyone wants to come up and say hello on the live stream, please do. Please leave your comments. It's lovely to use this as an opportunity to connect. But I feel really pleased that we are on LinkedIn and streaming this, because if it wasn't for LinkedIn, we would never have met.
No, it's
Um,
amazing. I've met such wonderful people, through LinkedIn, mostly through, hanging on to the life raft through COVID, because
yeah.
that's when I launched my business. And it was like,
Oh,
what the hell is happening? So I just
yeah.
started to DM people and connect with them, and well, just reach out. It was a desperate time, but yes, it was. Last 2 years have been absolutely amazing. For
I
meeting
think
some
they
amazing
have.
people.
Yeah, I think it's been, it's been an absolute evolution on how we connect with each other. And I think, we fell into each other's algorithms probably via Liz Brennan, I would imagine.
I know.
And we just started liking, and I think this is like basically how it works in terms of the personal brand stuff. We just started liking and commenting on each other's posts, and then we fall into each other's algorithm. I want to talk about a particular post that you put out in a little bit later on, so we will absolutely come to that. But I just think it just shows that if you speak your true self and you are yourself on LinkedIn, you attract the right types of people, don't you?
Yes, definitely. Well, that post, I had that in my drafts for probably about a good 5 or 6 weeks. Do I? Don't I? I'm relieving to the world that I'm, over 50, in fact 52, but the pinnacle time of my career of I'm turning 50 and I'm invisible. And,
Yeah.
I kept chuckling to myself about, you know, just the fact that you just become invisible, and even shoe shops even dismiss you, that you
Yeah.
can't find a decent pair of shoes. Now,
Oh, I
not that
love
the
this.
last 2 years I've been in either sliders, trainers, or boots, but over 50, you don't want a sensible heel. You
No,
definitely don't want a
absolutely.
sensible heel. you
Oh, well,
know
do you know what? Yeah, I'm a slider and sock girl to the core. I can look very glam from the top half, and the bottom half definitely isn't. But we'll
no,
definitely talk about that post because it's something that I really want to explore with you. But just so I can kind of introduce you to kind of my audience, if you like, talk to me about your career background, because I know that we've got lots of synergies in terms of we both coming from a recruitment background. So where did it all start for you?
it's my career.
Yeah,
So this is where I'm going to really show my age. So literally October 1989. I remember
love
my
it.
induction. It was, here's your script, and it was like a real long script. Here's your database, which was the Yellow Pages,
Yeah.
and I sat in the drafty cold office for construction, and then 1990, because I was in construction, the world dropped out. It was like recession. The building
Mhm.
industry just fell apart, and me and a guy called Tom White, we just laughed our way through the recession. We had such a good time. We just bashed the phones. It was 30 cold calls a day. Another lady called Fiona Duckering, and mouths did not stop. We just gas, 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 call on the phone. And we just had such a great time. There was no targeting, no KPIs that we kind of work towards. But we worked so hard and we had such a laugh. We did get paid a great deal,
Yeah.
contrary to popular belief. Um, and literally 30 years on, October of 2019 is when I hung up my car keys
Ah.
after doing loads of commuting and opening up branches up and down the country, recovering branches, all in the sort of industrial, in the blue collar sector. So industrial
Mm.
driving, technical sort of businesses is what I worked in. So lots of experience, lots of laughter along the way, lots of tears up and down the motorway.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's always been in recruitment. You know, I've not sort of bounced around to different companies. Just stayed loyal to one or two companies. People mostly. It's what it's why you'd stay with a business.
I think
And that's 30 years.
I think it absolutely is. You're right. You know, I spent 18 months on the high street when I started 21 years ago. So 18 months on the high street. And that was a kind of dual office of like, your industrial, your blue collar, and then your office staff, which is the desk that I worked on. And then very quickly then went and worked for a big corporate, Robert Half, for 10 years. And then I've been where I am now for 11 years. So I think you're right. You know, people probably don't move around in recruitment as much as people think they do. You know, once you do get settled and you do become established in a desk, I think it is, and you're working with the right people, it is very difficult to leave, isn't it?
Massive. You have to have big reasons to want to leave. You know, my big reason, health was one. You know, it was very stressful doing what I did. You know, really long hours, the commute. I think the commute was the big thing. Literally before, probably 2 or 3 years before, I'd be literally bouncing out the door at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, really happy to go out to work. And then near the time when I was like, oh, this is just really, really hard. Recruitment became hard, 2017, 2018. Lots of things were changing. Obviously, Brexit was a massive thing for the industrial sector. And life just became really tough. And that was when I just thought, I just don't enjoy my job anymore. And it was really hard to come to terms with that.
Yeah. And you know, it's really interesting you say that, because I think we have been so caught up in the pandemic for the last 2 years and nearly 2 years, and rightly so. But I really resonate what you said there, Karen. You know, we were absolutely feeling the pinch of Brexit before the pandemic hit. And that was really probably going from the September right the way through, wasn't it? Until maybe August, right the way through till the kind of, the March where the pandemic hit, and then we were really in trouble. You know, we were seeing our customers' buying habits change significantly. And so much was caught up in that decision and the, in the decision, and also the, who was going to come into power. So much was being caught up in that. And so, yeah, a lot of people had absolutely stopped recruiting.
Well, I can remember there was one particular office, it was Slough, literally, Heathrow is 7 miles down the road. So we had a huge migrant workforce, and overnight it disappeared.
Wow.
Overnight it disappeared. And so therefore, the client's requirements still remained the same. They expected to call at 5 o'clock the night before for 10 people for 8 o'clock the following day, and you just couldn't find people. So you had angry customers, upset consultants on a revolving door because they realised it's really, really tough. So it was just a really unenjoyable time in my career. 30 years and 2 recessions, real hardship times. And in the last couple of years of that period, it was just hell on legs, I'd say. And not that I'm not up for the challenge. It's just that sometimes you have to admit I'm just not in the right headspace to continue with this real battle.
Yeah, absolutely. So then you made a career pivot, which it's something that I'm really enthused with. I absolutely love the career pivot. So talk to us about yours. And yes, you have the motivation to leave. And so what was the kind of pull to make you kind of want to set up on your own?
Well, it was by accident, really, Sally. It was totally by accident. I became unemployable. This is what that post is about.
It happens to the best of us, Karen.
Oh, God. I've never felt unwanted in my life. I've been the one that's, I've been the one that's dumped the boyfriend. I've been the one that's walked away. I couldn't believe it. I'd left a business in the July, and I went to holiday, came back thinking, I'll find a job. I'm employable, got lots of experience, but I don't want to be in recruitment. I'd want to be doing something a bit different. So after applying for lots of jobs and not getting ghosted, or the pivotal time was this job. Bearing in mind, I used to do really long hours, commute that was up and down the country. And I saw this job and I thought, oh, that's got my name on it. This I could so do that job. the money was, quite low compared to what I was on before.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy was like so excited, you'd be taking my job, and I'll be training you, and then I said, when I told him what I used to do, you could just tell his mood was really dropping. It's like, oh, and then he was probably doing the math, thinking, oh God, she's over 50, because I just thought, after a reflection, I thought I shouldn't have told him off of that. I should have cut my work history in half. I should have
Yeah,
not told him
interesting.
my salary.
Mm-hmm.
And it was after that time I just thought, I'm not going to be at the mercy of somebody else binning me off because that they're thinking that I'm not going to be fit for purpose at 50.
Mm-hmm.
So it was at that point that I said to my husband, I've decided I'm going to set up on my own. And he was like,
Oh,
what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know. That's my business. I've always done business plans, and I did not do a business plan. I just thought, I've always worked in recruitment. I
yeah.
know where all the challenges are in recruitment, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to help business leaders to retain their staff, train their staff, and mentor the leaders. And that was that was the big plan in my head.
Yeah,
And
love it.
but it was by default. It was the fact that I've got a son who's 13. So I had him quite old. I say old, I was 39. I weren't old, but you considered old.
Yeah.
And yeah, they probably think that you're going to take loads of time off, which is I've never, thankfully, my son, touch wood, he's always been a really well child. So I never even had any time off with him being ill. I had a
Yeah.
good network of friends and relatives to support me through all these times when you expect them to be really ill, and before and after school and stuff like that. So yes, it was purely by accident, Sally. So of being unemployable, it was that bad.
Well, do you know what? I think it's great, and I think it's good to be unemployable, because I think that does kind of spark, entrepreneurialism. Is that the word? Being an entrepreneur? I don't know. You can tell I'm absolutely full of cold today. I can't. My brain's not working properly. I was wrapped up in a blanket just before we went live. So Karen, you're being really patient with me. Thank
But
you so much.
it's sink or swim, isn't it, Sally? It's a case of, I remember going to the pub with my friend. We used to go to Slimming World and then go to the pub afterwards. And she says, Karen, if it doesn't work out, you have to pull your finger out and lie and get yourself another job. I thought, well, I'm not lying for anybody. I don't need to lie. And that's what I did.
You've got so much. You've absolutely got so much to offer, and I think that is evident with all the clients that you're now working with, and how your business has evolved over the last, however many months. So, but you mentioned earlier, I mentioned, and you kind of touched on a post that you put out that went viral, and rightly so. And could you talk to us about what it is? So you said you had it in your drafts for 5 weeks or so before you'd, can I say, plucked up the courage to put it out there? And what was holding you back?
Well, it was a real vulnerable post because I explained, like I just said here, about I was unemployable. To actually say out loud that you couldn't get a job when you've had all this experience, I was literally, it was like a full-time job. I'd sit at my desk at 8 o'clock, see my husband and my son off, and then I'd apply for lots of different jobs, and you just didn't get a response. Like I say, you had a couple of conversations, and I'm thinking, well, quite an engaging person.
Yeah.
have a lot of experience, have a lot of tangible results under my belt. And some recruiters, I had a number of recruiters who were quite interested in talking to me, but I didn't want an ops manager's job again. I was happy to go to like a branch manager's job. I would eat the job alive, because I've been running lots of branches, and to do to have to do it, be in a different sector, to be a branch manager. Some of these people, shame on them, really. They'd have an interview, they wouldn't call you back, you wouldn't get feedback. And I've never been used to that.
No.
Never.
No.
And
how ironic that recruiters moan about that all the time, and then they're treating their staff like that. It's crazy.
So I just described my whole experience of being 50, feeling invisible, feeling like that you're just, your career's on the rocks because you're 50, that you're getting ghosted, that you're now unwanted. I used to be headhunt calls and are you interested? And then all of a sudden you feel unwanted completely.
Yeah.
So, obviously, I've still got, my son he still needs me, although it's just about feeding him, but I'm still needed in the family.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But so many people resonate with that because women get to sort of 45, 50 and feel just like that. They might be in a job, but they might feel that they're overlooked for a promotion, that the family doesn't need them. They've probably got empty nest syndrome. People, the kids going off to university or college or just growing up. And I had so many people resonating with it, and in my DMs saying, you're just describing how I feel. And it was a hell of a lot to do with women. And it was just before then that I thought, I want to help women in startups who are at that time of their life where they're probably perimenopausal, which I've also gone through, which I put on that post.
Yeah.
Where everything changes. No one explains to you that you're just going to change. And it feels like it's overnight. It's not overnight, but it feels like it because you don't recognise that your hair's falling out and the brain fog is something else. Your exhaustion at 3 o'clock where you just need 40 winks.
Yeah.
There's no information out there. Davina McCall, she needs a medal for what she put out there on that documentary.
Yeah.
That's when it's like, wow, that you're describing what I'm going through. So so that's why that post went nuts really, and loads of men requested a chat because they too felt overlooked. So the our aging workforce, they say that the 30s is the 20s and the 40s is the 30s. Well, a 50-plus-year-old is still as mentally still agile enough of a 30 and a 40-year-old.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And also, I think, we overlook the experience, the life experience, which is so invaluable, isn't it? It's, and like I've worked through one recession within my recruitment career. Yeah, the pandemic was really tough. It was really tough, and it is still tough, and we're recovering. But I knew it was going to be all right.
Yeah.
And it's that wisdom and that life experience, I think, that helps guide those who haven't been through it before through stormy weather, isn't it, really?
Definitely. You just got to dig deep and remind yourself what worked before, and do we need to go back to back to the foundations of how how you used to do things. I think sometimes when times are really good, you invest, you get all this automation, and then what it's doing is chopping out all the really good stuff. We spoke about this before, didn't we? That recruitment has always been hard, and the more easy we make it, we try and make it be, it chops out the human element. So we want to have an ATS that brings us all the most suitable candidates to our door. Forgetting that the client might have other ideas, and we've already chopped out all those other people. So by talking to people, building relationships, if it's not for now, it could be in 6 months, it could be in a year's time, that they'll remember you because you've had lots of touch points to them, as opposed to just one, which is, you've applied for my job and can I talk to you about it? And it's just quite cold, very cold.
It is. I think you've got to, I think, any good recruiter will tell you that the placements that they make, the candidates that they find jobs are through 5 or 6 different conversations going into your subconscious mind, someone mentioning something that they're looking for, and it's like a hey presto moment. I had a situation very recently. I had a dream. I have weird dreams, but I dream about work a lot. But I had a dream that I introduced this candidate that I had on an exclusive basis to a new CFO that I knew had rocked up in town. So I sent him a little video message with her details, and she's starting there in January. And it's thinking, even in your subconscious mind, where would that candidate fit best? Or, what what doors can I open on behalf of the candidates that I'm representing? And I think that's probably what I've loved most about the involvement of the market, is that, you know, we as recruiters aren't filling jobs anymore. We're placing candidates. We're helping candidates change their lives and open the candidates that we're representing up to the networks that we've spent years upon years developing.
Yeah.
And that does take a lot of touch points, doesn't it? It doesn't happen overnight.
No, definitely. You know, people, I think more so than ever now, people are, you know, that they want to have that human connection. They want to be able to have the conversation with somebody before they make a commitment. You know, you said earlier that,
Yeah.
you know, we're probably in a bit of a bottleneck and people wondering, you know, what's going to happen into the new year. And therefore, it needs a lot of, you know, arm around the shoulder and
Yeah.
you know, coaxing them to think that it's okay, we can move on. You know, especially if you've been with an employer that has been really good to you over, you know, through furlough, through the, you know, through the all the various lockdowns, the flexibility they might have, but they just might have a situation where they've outgrown their job, but they
Yeah.
feel loyal with their employer. So you just need to be
Mm.
able to help them cut that umbilical cord to say it's okay to move on.
Yeah. And I think, you know what, on the other end of the spectrum, a lot of the work that I do from my career coaching side, or my career coaching business, is that people feel really dissatisfied with what they're doing. They were probably feeling dissatisfied before the pandemic. And I think what happens when people feel dissatisfied is it really impacts their confidence. And so they become in this really kind of vicious circle of lacking the confidence to make a change, but being dissatisfied and undervalued and underpaid in their role makes them have a more distorted version of their self-worth, which then impacts their confidence, and it just goes round and round on this loop. And I think what a lot of people potentially forget is recruitment consultants are called consultants for a reason. We are there to consult. We're there to help, to guide, to, you know, tell candidates and clients what it's like on the market out there. Because, you know, one individual client and one individual candidate only sees their view of the market from their point of view, don't they? As consultants, when you're dealing with, you know, 30 odd companies, you're seeing a view from 30 different businesses, all facing the same challenges in terms of attracting talent. You're seeing lots of different types of candidates on the market who are there for lots of different reasons, all facing the same challenges when they come into the market. So you're able really, and I think trust is such an important part of being a good recruiter and building that trust. And it really pains me that we haven't got a better reputation in the market.
Oh, me too.
Really, because it really upsets me.
Yeah. It really does me because, you know, I've had that career for 30 years, and yes, there is people out there that, you know, really don't give a damn about the end user, which is your candidates.
Yeah.
And you know, your clients, of course, in the olden days, clients were king, but you know, the tables have well and truly turned, and this is an opportunity for consultants to do a proper job of being a consultative sales, consultative. Tell the client, not be afraid to tell the client you're not paid enough, or you know, your practices are, you know, not quite as people would expect nowadays. Because clients as well, they only know what they know, and if they're not being told, then who's telling them? Well, the feet walking out the door. That's what they should be taking notice of, but companies don't.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my job comes in where I do tell them.
Well, this is it, and this is it, and this is what I wanted to talk to you about. So, talk to me about the clients that you work with now, and the kind of impact you have on them and their businesses.
Well, I basically mentor business leaders for sales growth predominantly, so strategic growth in their business, generally looking at a 3 to 5 year plan. And then looking at their people agenda, the succession planning, their career mapping, to be able to help them retain their teams. So grow and retain their teams is essentially what I do. I don't work with many because they're quite time consuming and it's quite in depth. So there's, they're sort of on long-term projects.
Yeah.
And, only today, one lady said that, without a doubt, without my support, she would not be doing the figures that she's doing now.
That's incredible.
So that was just so heartwarming to hear.
Yeah.
She's recruited 6 new members of staff since we started working together,
Wow.
with a further 3 to put in for next year. And I've not sort of, rocket science that I part with them, but it's just giving them the confidence to drill on their figures, question their consultants, expect more from their consultants. So because these people are on their own, they're the only partner in their business. So they might have a deputy, but they wouldn't necessarily share, or with their staff, is what they would share with me.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
it's succession planning is something I absolutely love, because it's quite tangible to the consultant of what's in it for them, and gives them a reason of why they should stay.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's great. And the live that we did actually last week with Suzanne and Penny, because we do some consultancy work for an amazing company called Centered Excellence, and we too work with business owners. And I think it can be quite a lonely place, can't it? They get, pulled down with the weeds of the business, can't necessarily see a way forward. I think sometimes as well, it's that accountability. And having someone that you're accountable to who can give you a different perspective, why is it you're doing that? Or have you tried doing this? Or, and having, I'm sure worked in so many different businesses all around the UK, you can see, the people, we all make the same mistakes, don't we? We all fell short of the same things. It's human nature. There's nothing wrong with that. But it takes a certain type of person, I think, to really develop in themselves, develop in their business, and those are the ones that move forward.
I think you've hit the nail on the head, really, Sally. The accountability and somebody questioning them, with a different viewpoint or different level of experience and expertise, to help guide them into a different direction. And the company I worked with last year, they were 12 years old, but it was through different sort of management buyouts. So their staffing and the expertise in their business had been really diluted. So what was left were people that were not that committed, to the growth, the regrowth of the business. So that was a really interesting project that kind of really got them on the way. And I now see that they're winning awards. They're growing their teams. They're really, really stuck into certain HR projects that are just, again, it's just like seeing a little baby, move on and grow. It's just so satisfying, that side of my job.
Oh,
So
amazing. So that's the one-to-one work that you do with, a handful of clients. And I know that, well, I know you. Are you looking, are you opening up your doors again in the new year for some more?
So they're my one-to-one clients. I have the capacity for one more, because the other, where my energy is also being sort of steered towards, is my membership. And I know that you'll start your membership. And it just makes my heart sing even more, because it's for women. It's for women that are kind of going through the same sort of things that I went through in the last 2 years. So in like their startup sort of phase, where you need that guidance, you need somebody to hold you accountable to your goals. Because when you first start up, you have this awful, the fear of missing out. So shiny toy syndrome. Well, I'll just that. Well, I'll do a bit of that. And before you know it, you're all over the place. So trying to keep them on track, steered in the same, the right direction, which is their original plan, and holding to account is really satisfying. Helping them to be more confident in business. Some of these ladies have been like I was. You've got 20, 30 years behind you. But when you start on your own, it's a very lonely place, and you're making decisions on your own, and you're being very careful with your money, and you want to make sure that your money is put on the right sort of in the right sort of area in your business. So the women in business, business booster mentorship is what is my business, and I absolutely love it. Month one, and looking to really introduce some really exciting things for next year. One of which is a business health check, an audit on a health check.
Oh, amazing!
And you're looking at 8 elements of how confident you are in your sales, with your mindset, your social media overwhelm. So some really exciting things for next year.
Oh, and I think it's just brilliant that, you know, I mean, I'm a huge fan of kind of community and bringing people together, because I think, you know, I'm sure you'll agree with, like, the one-to-one clients that we work with, their challenges are exactly the same as the next person's, and actually, if we talk about them and show some vulnerability, just as you did with the post that you put out and posts that I put out in the past, that is what drives connection. And then when you have connection, you don't feel so alone, and you don't feel like the feelings that you've got are, you know, you feel validated, which I think is really important for confidence and for mindset. But also, you know, I think every good coach needs to have a coach, every mentor needs to have a mentor, and to be able to continually develop ourselves and help others is, I know, a huge reason as to why we both do what we do.
Yeah, definitely. It's certainly what drives me. I'm sure it does for you. It's
Absolutely.
really exciting to see personal growth from people.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. And that mindset shift, is the mindset shift of someone having a fixed mindset on something, can completely change what they do, and that then developing into, you know, inspired action and then results. More importantly, it's just incredible, isn't it?
Well, I've gone through the same. Last
Yeah.
year, I just, you know, sat in my own lane. You know, I'm only doing this, and yes, it paid off because it gave me some great experience, exposure to some businesses. But you learn from your mistakes, and you know, I wouldn't have done the membership if it wasn't for my business coach, who
Yeah.
kept saying to me at the beginning of the year, Karen, you should do this because you have been doing it, but on a one-to-one. Let's open it up to more people,
Yeah.
and make it more affordable, and create a membership.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
it took a lot of convincing. I had to be, you know, really coaxed into doing it. But now it's like, why did I sit on that idea for so long?
Yeah. I know that feeling. I know that feeling. Right. So, how can people? And we'll put the links on this stream afterwards, because so many people watch it afterwards and message me. So, how can people join your membership? I think number one, and how can they work with you one-to-one?
DM me with, you know, their questions. Obviously, we can organise a discovery call. The business audit, I'm actually launched that as of next week at a reduced rate. And if they were to join my membership, that money that would come off of the membership.
Great.
The membership, you know, new intake of members will be for January.
Yeah.
So I've kept it quite fluid because we are in the startup stage on month one of the membership. So going forward, there will be sort of cut-off times. But because we obviously want to build that community, you know, people can join whenever they wish, really.
Yeah.
So DM will be great, or by, you know, send me an email, whichever is suitable.
And in terms of the membership, and I'm saying this from personal experience of the kind of questions that I've been asked, what can someone expect when they join the membership? What do they get?
I've broken it down. I didn't want it to be too overcomplicated because I've been in groups before, and there's just loads of work coming at you. You've also got a day job, if you like, delivering for your own customers.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to overload it, but it is a goals club every month, you know, beginning of the month. So again, that's the accountability partner, and we're able to, you know, keep that fresh and, you know, in mind all the while, top of mind. A mentoring session with me on, you know, certain topics. So I'd walk them through with the kind of success path that I've created, and it's mostly around about getting started and clear, having real clarity of who they are, what do they offer, and how much does it cost.
Yeah.
So I know it sounds really simple. There's obviously more to that, but, you know, keeping really clear on exactly, you know, what do they offer to their customers, what's the transformation that they offer to their customers, and what needs to be support, you know, what material needs to support that. And we're bringing a guest expert, and I didn't want it to be all about business. I did want it to be a bit more holistic, you know, so well-being, meditation. I wanted it to be also about some business aspects. So, for instance, this month for December, it'll be all about money. It'll be about your money mindset. We had one last week which was all about sales and marketing and how to be an expert on Canva. So lots of guest experts have joined me. I've got the lovely lady who's all about stress and burnout, and another lady who is all about well-being. So
Fantastic.
got some great experts to come in.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, fantastic. I wish you all the luck with it, Karen. It's been so amazing to watch you grow and flourish, and for you to gain your confidence online. We've been on this journey together of feeling really awkward about putting ourselves out there, and look how far we've come. We're now live.
We're on live. I
Ridiculous,
can't
isn't it?
believe it.
It is, but I just wanted to thank you for your support of me. Thank you for your support for all the women out there facing similar challenges. And I genuinely know with you behind them, they're going to flourish. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sally. Thank you for having me. And
No worries.
yes, it's been a journey. It's been a journey for both of us for 2 years.
It's just the beginning, isn't it? That's the scary bit. But
Yeah.
oh, lovely. Well, thank you so much. I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.